Hello, my dear Libra friends. I hope you're all doing really well. I'm so happy to welcome you to this intuitive guidance for the months of July and August. Just a reminder, this reading is for you whether you're a Libra sun, rising, or moon sign. And I can already tell you, this spread is powerful. Just look at the major arcana cards and especially where they show up. You've got the Lovers and Judgment right at the center of the reading. That's what your soul desires most, a renewal, a calling towards something or someone that feels like your mirror, your other half. We'll dive into all of this in detail, and then we'll see what will help you align with that soul mission. You've also got the World and the Moon, both of which deliver such a powerful message and show that the universe is right there with you, supporting you every single day through these 2 months. In the guidance position, you've got the Empress, another strong sign. And finally, the Sun appears at the very end of August, marking a major turning point on your path. Let's begin with what will matter most for you during July and August. In other words, what your soul is truly longing for at this point in your life. I've chosen to center these readings around the soul because when we make choices from that deeper place, not from the ego, not from the mind, then by definition, we are in alignment. And when we're aligned, life flows more easily. There's more joy, less struggle. But the truth is, we don't always know what our soul really wants. And right now, dear Libra, what your soul is longing for is expressed through the Lovers and Judgment. The Lovers is such a beautiful card vibrationally speaking. It speaks of fulfilling emotions, of feeling like you're exactly where you belong. Why? Because you're connected. That deep connection I just mentioned, the one with your soul. Now, traditionally, the Lovers is seen as meeting your soulmate or twin flame, and that can absolutely be true, but I believe that will apply to only a few of you. For most, this deep connection can manifest in many other essential areas of life. It might be a place, a home, where you feel deeply at peace and aligned. It might be a lifestyle, the way you move through your day from morning to night. Do you have time to create, to dream, to cook, to walk in nature, or to pursue your passion? Or has your daily life pulled you away from yourself? This might be about reconnecting to a calling or simply rediscovering an activity that makes you feel alive. The Lovers can also represent a deep friendship, a soul connection with an animal, or even a lifestyle choice, your way of eating, your spiritual path, or a cherished hobby. The Lovers encompass all of that. It's about living in harmony with who you truly are, bringing your inner truth into your everyday life. And then comes Judgment, completing the message of what your soul is longing for. Look at the figures on this card. They appear ghost-like, almost ethereal, and suddenly they rise up, arms lifted, as if responding to a call. That call is guided by light. You can see it in the background, and there's even a dolphin, symbolizing a divine message, a revelation surfacing from the depths. In tarot, Judgment speaks of rebirth, awakening, and a soul-led transformation. So clearly, there's a part of you that's ready for something new. It's as if the universe is saying, there's a freer, more connected version of you waiting to emerge. And the time is now. So if you're in a relationship and things are going well, don't go looking for hidden meanings in your love life. That's probably not where this message is pointing. Instead, ask yourself, what area of your life no longer feels aligned? What's no longer a fit? Where have you lost touch with yourself? Because that's where your soul is calling you. That's where something new wants to be born. It's a beautiful soul invitation. Now, let's look at what can support you in moving toward that reconnection. And once again, you've drawn 2 powerful major arcana cards, the World and the Moon. This is a deeply significant message. In this context, the world isn't just about outer success or achievement. It's more like the final sentence of the final chapter in a book. It invites you to recognize that a cycle has come to an end in one or more areas of your life, even if that's hard to accept. It's time to close it with gratitude because it no longer matches who you are. Let's take a few examples. If your health no longer reflects what your soul is truly craving, those Lovers' energies, it might be time to release certain habits. Maybe the way you eat, the lack of movement, or a rhythm of life that's leaving you drained. Becoming aware of that is the first step toward building a life that truly lights you up. If the issue is financial, maybe it's time to let go of an old way of managing your money because it no longer reflects what you actually want to experience. And just like we saw earlier, the levers can show up in any area of your life. So take a closer look. Your home, your relationships, your daily routine, your work. Something is asking to shift. And once you've identified what truly needs to shift, the world invites you to close that chapter, or those chapters, for good. And this closure is one of the key steps toward living your soul's true purpose, toward what it genuinely wants for your happiness. Because as you know, you can't step into something new without making space for it first. Now, let's talk about the moon. The illustration in the Celtic Tarot is absolutely stunning. I'll include the names of the 2 decks I used in the video description if you're interested. The guides are telling you, there is an entire world still hidden within you, a world of possibilities, a world waiting to be born. But once again, to access that world, you'll need to ask yourself the right questions, not with your mind, but with your heart. What do I deeply long for right now? What would a truly inspiring life look like for me? You can even go a step further and write it all out, what you wish for in the key areas of your life, your home, your lifestyle, your daily rhythm, your sense of freedom, your work or passions, your relationships, finances, health, and even your spirituality. The moon invites you to reconnect with your intuition, to honor your deep inner desires, even if they're still a little unclear. After all, the moon always carries shadows. So together, these 2 cards are saying, there's a part of you that already knows, and now is the time to listen to it. Let's move on to the main challenge you might face over these 2 months. And here, you've drawn 2 fascinating cards, the Page of Swords and the Knight of Cups. What's interesting is that both are younger figures, less experienced, but they're moving through 2 very different realms. The Page of Swords operates in the mind, while the Knight of Cups moves through the heart. And don't forget, these cards are showing up in your challenge position. The Page of Swords, when positive, represents a flash of clarity. I often call it the eureka moment, a new idea, not fully formed yet, but full of promise. There's always a sense of curiosity and freshness with the pages. But here, because the Page of Swords is in the challenge position, it's as if that mental clarity is missing. You just can't grasp it. You might be overthinking, going in circles, or waiting for certainty before you make a choice. But that certainty isn't showing up. So this page might reflect a mental fog, a fear of making the wrong move, or simply difficulty making a clear decision. Now look at the Knight of Cups in this version of the Celtic Tarot. He's completely submerged underwater, surrounded by fish. Normally, this knight represents someone who moves with their heart, who follows their inspiration and listens to their inner voice. He's deeply connected to his emotions. But here, not only is he showing up as a challenge, he's also entirely underwater, as if your emotions are clouded, hard to read. Maybe right now you're feeling hypersensitive to the point of being paralyzed, unsure how to act. Or maybe you hesitate to trust your feelings because doing so might require deep changes in your life. So in a way, it feels like you're moving through an emotional fog. That's why your main challenge over these 2 months is to find balance between mental clarity and the voice of your heart. And that ties in perfectly with everything we've seen so far, this deep soul calling expressed through the Lovers and Judgment, which requires closing a chapter, the world, and opening up to a deeper inner wisdom, the moon. Now let's take a look at what will help you find clarity and move forward. You've drawn the 4 of Cups and the Page of Wands. Just look at the figure on the card. He's not in crisis, but he's definitely not inspired either. He seems completely disengaged, like he's not expecting anything more from life. The 3 cups on the ground once held emotions that nourished him, but they're no longer enough. And even the divine hand offering him a new cup, a symbol of opportunity or renewal, he doesn't see it. He doesn't reach for it. But since this card is in your support position, the message from the universe is this: if you want clarity, If you want to know what your heart truly longs for, like the lovers suggest, then start by identifying what you no longer want, because sometimes that's the easiest place to begin. You can ask yourself, or even write down, 5 or 6 things you're done with. Maybe, I no longer want to live in a space that feels suffocating. I no longer want to rely on someone else to feel okay. I no longer want to lose myself trying to fit into someone else's mold. I no longer want to feel empty at the end of my days. Whatever comes up, make it your own. Then, take those I don't want statements and transform them into intentions. I want to live in a space that feels like home. I want a relationship that is fulfilling and respectful. I want to honor myself. I want to live somewhere that nourishes and inspires me. And now the Page of Wands becomes really interesting in this support position. As you know, wands are connected to fire and action. And even though the page is a young energy, not yet fully experienced, it still marks a beginning. This card tells you, even if you don't know everything yet, even if you don't have all the answers, go ahead, just start. I know it's tempting to wait until you have the full picture, but that's not what's being asked of you here. It's more like the momentum will come once you begin. And in fact, if you look closely at the illustration, there's a flash of lightning, and that's so telling. It's as if the eureka moment you were searching for with the Page of Swords, the one that was missing in your challenge, is finally going to show up once you take action. So to sum it up, these two cards are telling you, by sorting through the Four of Cups, by recognizing what no longer feels right, you'll activate the fire, the passion of the Page of Wands. And from there, you'll find your clarity again. Now let's explore the hidden gift behind your challenge, because whenever the universe sends us a difficulty, there is always something of value behind it, always. The thing is, we usually don't see this gift while we're in the middle of the challenge, and that's exactly why I've chosen to highlight it in each of my readings, so that when you're going through a tough moment, you'll know that something good is already on its way. In this case, you've drawn the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Swords. And it's really fascinating because both of these cards are about mastering the mind. After the mental fog we saw earlier with the Page of Swords, this is like the veil lifting, and suddenly everything becomes clear. The Queen of Swords is the sovereign of her inner truth. She doesn't let herself be manipulated. She sees things for what they are. It's a card of deep alignment, and it's the gift your soul is offering you after walking through emotional confusion or indecision. And this gift doesn't come alone. You've also got the Knight of Swords. And in the Celtic Tarot, he's illustrated with immense power. This is a knight on a mission. Once you know where you're headed, you'll move forward, and likely very quickly. It's the kind of energy that says, I know where I'm going, and I'm going now. And it's beautiful because these two cards together show that the gift behind your challenge is a full realignment of your mind, with power, with focus, with certainty. That clarity is coming, and it's priceless. Now let's take a look at your emotional life. You've pulled two very different but complementary cards, the Three of Wands and the Five of Wands. The Three of Wands is about looking the horizon with hope. And it's not blind hope. There are ships approaching carrying precious cargo. In other words, you have every reason to expect something positive on an emotional level. It could be inner peace, a relationship that's forming, a heart beginning to heal, or even a new connection coming into your life. Whatever it is, it's about your emotional reality starting to align with your heart's desires. And from what we can see, what you're longing for, what you've been waiting for, is already on its way. Those ships are coming. So this card carries a powerful message of trust, but also patience. It's saying something beautiful is unfolding, even if you can't see it just yet. And right next to it, you've got the Five of Wands, those characters fighting off dragons, like they're in survival mode. This card often speaks of conflict or a lack of harmony. It could be external tension with someone else or inner tension within yourself. And taken together, these two cards invite you not to lose sight of what's arriving, what's already in motion. Even if right now things feel a bit messy or unclear, things are shifting. Now, let's turn to your professional and financial life for July and August. Here you've got the Five of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles. The Five of Swords often represents a hollow victory. So I think you've reached certain goals. You've shown strength, commitment, maybe even resilience in a tough situation. But at what cost? And that's the very question this card brings up. Did those results come at the expense of your health, your peace, your relationships, or even your freedom? Do you feel a sense of emptiness, fatigue, or like you've lost meaning in what you're doing? Once again, we're in the energy of a 5, a symbol of imbalance. So perhaps this is where something truly needs to be closed out, particularly in your work or financial world. Now, the Knight of Pentacles comes in to balance that out. This is the steady builder, the one who moves forward with patience and method. In this context, I believe this card is asking you to bring more structure, more sustainability into your work or financial life. Because the way things are now, it might be hard to maintain this rhythm much longer. So is it time to slow down, to organize yourself differently, to approach things in a new way? These are questions worth sitting with. What do you want to build now, but in a way that's different, more aligned with where you're going? Because as we saw with the Judgment card earlier in the reading, something is ready to be reborn. And that doesn't necessarily mean starting over from scratch, but maybe doing things differently. Now take a look at what's waiting for you at the end of August. The Knight of Swords, again, and the Sun. Remember, the Knight of Swords already appeared earlier as the gift behind your challenge. And here he is again, charging ahead with clarity, with determination, not looking back. So for some of you, this gift may already start to materialize by the end of August. You're going to come back stronger. You'll have a clear sense of direction, make firm decisions, and know exactly where you're headed, with no more doubt. And as if that weren't enough, you've got the Sun. It's one of the brightest and most favorable cards in the entire tarot. Yes, it symbolizes happiness, joy, success, a deep reconnection to your inner self and to life itself. But it's also a card of clarity, of course, so it reinforces the message that the light is coming back. That what was once confusing will no longer be. What was blocked will be illuminated. And that light, it's yours. It shines because you've dared to walk through the shadows, to take a step back and ask the right questions. It's a truly powerful and positive combination. It confirms the energy of the Three of Wands we saw earlier, that even though there have been challenges, something beautiful is on its way, and all of this will bring you deep joy. Before we get to the oracle message, let's look at the final piece of advice from your guides for navigating these 2 months as peacefully as possible. And that advice comes from our last major arcana, the beautiful Empress. She represents abundance, creativity, and of course, a deep softness. As guidance, she's inviting you, very clearly, not to hold back from starting something new. Now is the time to plant seeds, to let a new idea take root. A project, a new way of living, or a new way of taking action. And because the Empress holds the energy of gestation, you don't need immediate results. This doesn't necessarily mean starting from scratch or changing your whole life, but as we saw with Judgment and the World, important adjustments are clearly needed, and the Empress reminds you that those changes can be a true source of joy. So go ahead, create. Start planting the seeds of a new way of living, or simply a new way of being. Well, dear Libra, what a reading this has been. But we're not quite done. Let's finish with a message from the Little Oracle of Intuition, from the Permission series. Happiness. Even if your loved ones, or the planet, are going through hard times, don't feel guilty about being happy. Your joy raises the vibration of those around you and helps uplift the world. It's a beautiful, wise message from the Oracle, and I think it's the perfect way to close this reading. Because, as we've seen with Judgment, the Lovers, and the World, something deeply powerful and aligned is trying to be born within you. I wish you a beautiful, soul-aligned season. Don't forget to check your rising and moon signs for a more personal reading. I've also included a link in the description to an audiobook that can truly help you manifest everything you desire. This tool is considered the most powerful manifestation tool ever created, and I personally use it with great success. Sending you all my love. Take good care of yourself, And I'll see you back here on August 28th for your next guidance.